Hi, today I would like to show you a variation of the cotton wool ball tinder. We've been reviewing our emergency preparedness because we live in an area with high likelihood of major earthquake, and one of the things we went look at was how to make fire. And I got particularly interested in the various emergency procedures, and in particular using ferrocerium rods like this one, which generate a spark, which is then used to ignite tinder. I define tinder as a substance which is able to ignite from spark alone, uh, as opposed to, say, a fire starter, which needs a more substantial flame, which is then transferred to your wood pile. There are many kinds of tinder. Um, the best known ones are charcloth, dryer lint, and cotton wool, um, either with or without petroleum jelly. The petroleum jelly adds waterproofing and also improves the burning ability for the cotton wool. So this is a very useful method. Most people use rather large cotton wool balls and soak them in petroleum jelly and then store them in Ziploc bags. This involves carrying a fairly large volumes of cotton wool around, although this is not particularly heavy. I thought there may well be a better way, and this is where I wondered how much cotton wool do you actually need to make fire, and it turns out that you need only a rather small quantity. And a small quantity of cotton wool is found on Q-tips. Everybody knows Q-tips. They are easily purchased in pharmacy stores. Um, they're available almost everywhere, and they pack into rather small spaces. So everybody recognizes what they look like. This is a piece of cotton wool wrapped around a stick. The stick is usually made of either wood or, in this case, I believe paper, sometimes plastic. There is a cotton wool ball on either end. So what does one do to make fire with cotton wool and sparks? Well, first you need to tease out the cotton wool from the bud to increase the surface area. This is fairly easily done just using fingers. You can use a knife point, or a needle, or anything. It's not that difficult. And then using this rather small ferrocerium rod and even smaller striker, you can start the fire. So here you can see we've caught fire, but it went out again very quickly, so start again. This time we have better flame. It's not a particularly big flame, and it lasts approximately 16 seconds. So it's probably barely time enough to transfer it to a fire starter. So the better way to use these is to cover them with petroleum jelly, which everybody knows as Vaseline. This is not difficult. To do just one stick, I will put a piece of piece of petroleum jelly on a piece of paper and just wrap the cotton bud in it thoroughly, and put a little bit on the shaft as well. You can also stick the whole bud into a jar of Vaseline and it'll probably do the same trick. So this is now well coated with Vaseline and as such should be waterproof. So what to do next? Well, let's test the theory and dip the cotton wool bud in water. So this has now been thoroughly wetted. So to start a fire, one has to get rid of the surface water. Use the same piece of paper just to wipe it off a bit. And tease out the tip again as one did before. to get a larger surface area. The other important thing is to expose the untreated fibers of cotton wool, because they are the ones that will catch fire from the spark. The petroleum jelly will not catch fire from a spark. The petroleum jelly will start to burn once there is a fire next to it and it's been heated up to its ignition point. So here we go, and we have a pretty quick and decent fire, and you can see that the flame is much bigger, and you will also see that it lasts considerably longer than the other one. The important thing is not to get burned, because in this case the stick is actually hollow, and I got slightly burned by the hot gases coming through the end of the stick. But as you can see, the stick is still burning, so there is plenty of time to transfer this flame to a fire starter of some sort. And it's still going. When you time this, it's well over a minute. Still going. Okay, I think I have demonstrated my point. So, in summary, you can get spark from a very small ferrocerium rod. You can protect these cotton wool balls by adequate application of petroleum jelly. You can apply the jelly to both ends, and you can cut the Q-tip in half and then use each half separately to start fire. The best thing is to clip the half of the Q-tip in some sort of split stick, or hold it in some other way so you don't get burned. And there you go. You should carry these in some sort of suitable container. I've got this one, which cost me about $2. It's got an O-ring which makes it waterproof, so there is additional protection. The only problem is that the Q-tips are actually too long for the container to close. So cutting them in half will make it easier to store them in. I suggest storing them this way, with the heads up and down. That way you will get more of them inside. So that is a nice, safe way of carrying them, and the Vaseline of course provides additional protection should you get some water into the container. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this and found it useful.